Life is not a straight path, and planning for the future is like looking through a foggy window. You can never see everything clearly, but if your mind is silent and alert, you begin to see patterns in the fog. To make a meaningful plan, one must first understand the nature of the mind. The mind is always running, thinking of the past or imagining the future, and it is full of fears, desires, and memories. These thoughts cloud our vision, so the first step is to calm the mind and watch it. Just observe it silently without judging. When you look at your mind without reacting, you become more aware of what you truly want, not what society, parents, friends, or media want you to desire. And when you are clear about what really matters to you, a plan starts forming by itself. It is not forced. It grows naturally like a tree grows from a seed. The mistake most people make is they copy others' plans. They want to become rich because others are rich. They want to be famous because others are famous. But real planning is born out of understanding your inner self. What excites you? What makes your heart feel alive? What are you deeply interested in, even if there is no reward? Start from there. Suppose you want to be a writer, but your parents say, there's no money in it. If you blindly follow them, you may end up becoming an engineer, earn well, but live with a dry heart. So planning must begin with honesty. Know what you truly love and what kind of life you are ready to live for it. Some passions need sacrifices. A musician may live in a small room for years, but he is happy because he is doing what he loves. Once you know what you want, the next step is seeing future possibilities, not just the one straight line of success you imagine, but all the possible paths, risks, delays, failures, and surprises. Life is full of uncertainty. A long-term plan must include space for change, flexibility, and awareness. For example, imagine you want to open a cafe in your town. You feel passionate about food and community. First, you study the area, the customer needs, the rent, the competition. But more than that, you sit with yourself and see deeper. What if there's a sudden change in the economy? What if your partner leaves midway? What if your vision changes after 2 years? What if you fall sick? What if success comes and then fades? A good planner does not assume everything will go well. They are aware of the thousands of things that may happen. This awareness does not make them afraid. It makes them more alive and intelligent. It brings alertness. You don't build a castle in the air. You keep your feet on the ground and prepare for all possibilities, mentally, emotionally, and practically. For example, a friend of mine started a small design studio. She had dreams of growth, but also kept part-time teaching jobs to support herself. She didn't depend fully on the studio at first. That balance gave her freedom. She could experiment without fear. She saw future uncertainties and adapted without panic. Most people fail not because their plans were bad, but because they were too rigid, too hopeful, or too blind. The art of decision-making is also deeply connected to clarity. When the mind is noisy, full of opinions, fears, and confusion, every decision feels heavy. One day you feel confident, the next day full of doubt. But if you become aware of your own confusion, and instead of rushing you stay with it and observe it quietly, something beautiful happens. Clarity rises slowly like the sun in the morning. A true decision is not made by the ego or from fear. It comes from deep silence. It is like water finding its own path. There is a deep knowing inside you that already sees what is right. The problem is, we don't trust that knowing. We ask others. We compare. We doubt ourselves. But once you drop comparison and stop running from confusion, the right decision comes naturally. Say you're choosing between 2 job offers. One pays more, but the other gives you creative freedom. Instead of analyzing endlessly, just sit with both choices silently. Watch how your body reacts, how your energy feels. The right choice makes your being feel lighter. Wrong choices create tension. Over time, as you practice this inner observation, you become a master of decision-making, not because you have all the information, but because you are deeply in touch with your intelligence. A long-term plan is not just a list of goals and deadlines. It is a living thing. You must revisit it often, observe its growth, and prune what is no longer useful. Also, you must become a different person to achieve long-term goals. It is not about reaching the destination, but about becoming capable of reaching it. If your goal is to be a spiritual teacher, a writer, a leader, or an inventor, you must develop patience, discipline, empathy, and awareness. You must grow emotionally and psychologically. A long-term vision is like climbing a mountain. You don't rush. You pause, reflect, and stay alert. You may change routes many times, but your direction remains clear. One man I knew wanted to become a filmmaker. For 10 years he worked small jobs, made short films, studied people, and saved money. Everyone around him got quick success in other fields, but he stayed calm and focused. Today, he makes documentaries that touch lives. His success was not luck. It came from his clarity, consistency, and the ability to wait and grow. To influence people or understand their psychology, you must first understand your own mind. Every human being is driven by a few simple needs: security, love, recognition, and growth. When people feel heard and understood, they open up. When they feel judged or used, they resist. So to truly influence people, don't manipulate them from the outside. Instead, connect with them deeply. Listen without judging. Speak without trying to dominate. Be present. For example, if you're trying to get your team to support your vision, don't just talk about profits. Talk about meaning. Ask what excites them. Let them feel part of the journey. A true leader influences people by awakening their inner fire, not by fear or pressure. But yes, if you must work with manipulation, do it consciously, not cruelly. Sometimes in business or negotiation, you need to present ideas in a way that attracts attention. Understand that people's minds are lazy. They love stories, emotions, and repetition. So use simple language, powerful images, and emotional truths. But never lie. Influence without corruption. There is a line between conscious strategy and unconscious selfishness. Stay on the side of awareness. Human psychology is full of patterns. People repeat the same mistakes, desires, fears, and reactions because they are not aware. They act like programmed machines. Once you understand this, you stop taking people's behavior personally. If someone criticizes you, lies to you, or ignores you, look deeper. They are just acting from their wounds and conditioning. This insight gives you freedom. You become less reactive. You influence better because you are not offended or aggressive. You understand that behind every angry man is a frightened child. Behind every arrogant person is deep insecurity. So whether you are dealing with clients, students, lovers, or strangers, stay aware. Don't react. See their hidden pain and unmet needs. This awareness makes your words more powerful, your silence more healing. In relationships and work, knowing when to speak and when to stay silent is a powerful skill. You can only develop it through awareness. For instance, if your friend is going through pain and you give advice too early, it may backfire. But if you wait, observe, and speak from compassion, your words can change their life. The same applies in business. Timing is everything, and timing comes from observation. Don't rush. People who rush to convince or control others often lose power. Those who observe quietly and strike at the right moment become magnetic. This is not magic. This is intelligence sharpened by awareness. Even your long-term plan must include how you relate to people. You cannot succeed alone. Life is interconnected. Learn to collaborate. Learn to say no when needed, but also learn to support others without expectation. If you give only to get something back, your relationships become transactions. But if you give with joy, people remember you. One businessman I met always helped young entrepreneurs selflessly. After 10 years, his kindness came back in the form of partnerships and loyalty. Influence built on love is more powerful than manipulation built on fear. Another mistake in planning is becoming too obsessed with outcomes. When you're too attached to results, you lose the joy of action. You become anxious, and your creativity dies. So while you plan your future, also learn to let go of it. Do your best today. Plant the seeds. Water them. Care for them. But don't keep digging them up to see if they're growing. Trust the process. The future is not fixed. It is born from this moment. The more present you are now, the better your future becomes. A man who is fully present in his work today is unknowingly building a powerful future. And when things go wrong, and they will, you don't break down. You adapt. You see mistakes not as failures, but as part of the journey. One woman I knew started an online store. In the first year, she got very few sales. But instead of giving up, she used that year to understand marketing, improve her design, and connect with customers. Now her brand is growing, and she enjoys the journey more than the money. The final insight is this: don't separate planning from living. Life is not a project, it is a dance. Your plan should not become your prison. It should help you grow, explore, and stay alive. Change it when it no longer fits your truth. Drop it if it makes you bitter. A good plan serves your life, not the other way around. And most of all, remember, you are not the plan. You are the awareness behind the plan. The more you stay connected to that awareness, the more intelligent your actions become. You don't chase the future blindly. You see it clearly, prepare for it, and yet stay rooted in the now. That is the secret to successful planning, powerful decisions, deep influence, and a life lived with understanding.